Hello everyone, my name is Jen and welcome to the Book Refuge and welcome to a kind of unique video today. Well, unique as in it's a video idea that I had a couple years back, and so I'll link the original up above, and now I'm making kind of a second one, revamping it. There will probably be some crossover between that video and this one, but I'm just making it again to get it out to some more people. I know everyone is still in a tizzy about Bridgerton. They're always in a tizzy about that now and then, which is great. I mean, I love Bridgerton as well. So as you can tell based on the title, this video is historical romances by steam. And specifically, I'm going to go based on author, and by steam/spice, I am going to go based on my personal spice scale that I created. I created this at the end of last year, and it is something that I use to rate all of the books that I share on my channel. And in my Goodreads reviews for this year, every book that I review also has a spice rating. This is between 0 and 5 chili peppers, and when you see my Goodreads review, it'll say like 3 on my spice scale, because I can't always put the chili peppers in it or whatever. So what I'm going to do for this is hopefully going to be a pretty quick video. I'm going to explain the spice, my personal definition for spice. So when you will go find these authors, or you will in the future hear me mention this spice scale, you can reference this in your mind and know that this is what I mean by it. This isn't going to be perfect because of course this is subjective, and also not every book that an author does will match this. Some of them will have more spice and some of them will have less spice. So I've just grabbed a few books by each author to show in reference. I won't be speaking about any like specific book by the author. I'll just be speaking about them in general. Okay, so those are the qualifications. Take it for what you will. This is of course again based on my own opinion, and we are going to start with I'll explain a couple things. So my spice scale actually starts with no steam, and this says pretty obvious, there's no romance or even really a hint of it at all. So that's books that like aren't romance at all. Then there's something called the puff of steam, and I actually have this as an emoji that's like literally steam. And this one says like there is tension and maybe there's a kiss or two. This could be either in YA, or it means that there is mostly fade to black scenes, so you can think of this as like some like classics that we read, although classics aren't necessarily historicals, but you get what I mean by that. Then we finally get to the first chili pepper, and the first one that I have some recommendations for. So the way I decided to do this too is it's going to be, I broke it into the 5 chili peppers. These books are going to fit between 1 and 2. So some of these authors are 1 chili pepper and then some are like 1.5, it like edges up. But this is my definition for 1 chili pepper. And that is hands or mouthy things, but no penetration on page. Descriptively is what I mean by that. Like the penetration isn't like fully described, really. There may be heavy petting, maybe before the deed fades to black. Things aren't super detailed, but they are allusion to or using flowery terms. Or there is one scene and it is in the latter part of the book, or is on like a wedding night or something like that. So it can be either. Because with the hands and mouthy things, there can be multiple of those scenes, or there's like 1 scenes. And I also put the note because I'm snarky. I said like this, it may have given me lady blue balls because I have some specific ones for that. So, in the category of between the 1 and 2 chili peppers, I have a couple authors to share with you. So I have Sherry Thomas. This is the only one of hers that I have read. This one really just had like 1.5 scenes in it, and it was perfectly fine. She has a lot of angst in her books, so know that. An author who I've read like 3 of her books, and they didn't have much happening in them at all. One of them, it was only in the epilogue. And that's Anne Gracie. Hers are very sweet though, and they really did give me the feel of like a Georgette Hare or even a Jane Austen, but with more like quippy, well, not more quippy than Jane Austen, but they're a little more modern and fun. But Anne Gracie is someone who like I really enjoyed, but didn't give me the spice that I wanted. Someone who definitely gave me lady blue balls, but I did really enjoy what I had read, is Vanessa Kelly. She is someone that I have gotten halfway through books and realize nothing is really happening and get kind of like bored with the sexual part of it, but the story will be really interesting. So like I really enjoy her Kincaid series. Those ones are definitely like a 1 on a, like they're solidly a 1. And then she also has her her Royal series too, and these ones have been about 1.5 for me. And then Courtney Milan, The Duke Who Didn't. Now I've read some other Courtney Milan that was probably higher on the spice scale, but this one specifically, this was a Friends to Lovers. It was a slow burn, and again, like this one had like 1 full scene and then a couple like almost, so this one's more like 1.5 leading up to the 2. These will fall a lot, it's a thing. All right, now we're moving up to the 2 to 2.5 chili peppers. This is where I find actually like a lot of historical authors fit in this area for me. And even some of the 3s that I'm going to talk about could fit more in this. So this is very popular for me in the historical zone. So this one says, the deed gets done, but it is very delayed. It's probably in 50% or later in the book, and there are no more than 2 like full scenes. Maybe still some more flowery language is used to describe body parts and the act. Only more conventional sex positions, you know, and things aren't getting too creative is what I would say. So still a pleasant time for a historical, nothing especially astounding, but still a good time, you know, and you're not being probably blue-balled as much as, like I said before. So there are a lot of authors, but one of my favorites who I think solidly fits in the 2 spot is going to be Mary Balogh. She always has beautiful characters, wonderful love stories, usually pretty like drawn out to get to it, like it takes us a while with some angst, but there was still some relatively good payoffs once this sexy times actually happened for me. Sorry, hold this up higher. So I actually have books from 3 different series of hers. The Westcott series, I just love this series so much, by the way. This is one where like I actually really like this new cover, even though I don't feel like it totally represents the characters that well, but that's fine. There's the Bedouin series, which I'm actually in the middle of this series for sure. And then there is the Survivors Club, which I also really love. She has a crap ton of books, by the way. So many. But I would say she definitely fits into this chili pepper range. Then we have Mary Wine. Her books are really fun. These are like enemies to lovers, arranged marriages, Scottish romances. These ones have great plots and they're lots of fun, but there's not, you know, a ton of spicy times happening in these. This is going to get painful, leaning over. Also, who I think fits in the 2 chili pepper range is going to be Donna Fletcher. Again, she has some really fun plots. They're adventure. They are a lot of heroes who fall very deeply. She also has beautiful covers. These ones are medieval Scottish romances. And I mean, Bound to a Warrior. Look at this cover. It's fantastic. So far what I've read from her fits between the 2 and maybe up to a 3 sometimes. So now my definition of 3 stars, or 3 chili peppers. I need a drink. My definition for this is things are happening and they are a bit more graphic now. It happens more often. Maybe there is a spank or a tickle. Wording is still romantic for the most part, but we may start to see some of those more graphic terms used for male parts and female parts. Maybe a little bit of dirty talking happening, and there are more positions used as well, maybe. Or interesting locations, that's a good one too. So again, this one is where I think a lot of authors fit into. This solidly out of 3 is where I think that Lisa Kleypas sits, because sometimes there can be quite a few sex scenes in her books. Sometimes there's not. Sometimes there's premarital stuff in hers. Sometimes there's not. Sometimes things even get a little bit spicy and there might be some dynamic play that's happening. Or sometimes they're just extremely romantic, but they can't keep their hands off each other. So I would say she fits pretty firmly into the 3 star for me. Like Lisa Kleypas is really the standard for so many things. Megan Frampton, she always has some amazing dirty talking heroes in hers, and she really fits, I think, into that sex in unique places, as I was talking about. I've read carriage sex in hers. I've read literally like in a field, in a like closet. Like she's had some really interesting situations for hers, and her books are very witty and fun as well. We have two authors that these ones fit more towards the 3.5 of the 3 for me. We have Elizabeth Hoyt, who she definitely fits more of like, she has dirty talking heroes. She has some more like dynamic play in hers. She's had like a role play in some of hers. She has different sex positions. There are fun stuff that comes to town when reading Elizabeth Hoyt. Now, some people would even call her more towards the upper side of spicy because some of her romances can be a little bit darker than others, and so that can make them feel spicier. But actually, like, upon rereading them, like, I mean, it's really, they're very good. Like, I still feel very satisfied with the amount of steaminess and spiciness in these, but they're still not, like, at the level that some of these we're going to get to. And then I want to say an author who is actually on this list twice, but she has 2 pen names. So Minerva Spencer, I would put the Minerva Spencer pen name at the 3 to 3.5. Particularly, like, both of these books are very sexy. They even have some very interesting scenarios. Like the heroine in this one, she actually has a belly button piercing. She not grew up, but she was a sex slave in a harem for many years of her life. And so there's lots of things that she learned. So she's not really scared of her body or the feelings that it gives her. And it makes her very bold and exciting. And this one, the hero in this is just, he's fantastic. So I would definitely put Minerva Spencer on like the 3.5 because there are copious amounts of love scenes, as well as things are willing to be like changed up a lot. I feel like in historicals too, once you start to see like more blowjobs happen or oral, that's something that's not always happening in historical, specifically from like women to men. I feel like quite a few men in historicals will do oral, but I don't see it always that women doing it because the men will be like, oh, that's so degrading that she's doing that or something like that, you know. But yeah, I would put Minerva Spencer here. Now we're going to go up to 4 chili peppers. And now some things are starting to cook here. So this one says, fairly often things are happening and definitely graphic in descriptions, as in the words that are used are more crude and aggressive during the act. There is lots of foreplay, sexy talk, things could be kinky, there may be anal introduced. There is still a bigger plot to the book. They are not completely focused on the sex yet. So to me, actually, this is like my sweet spot. Like, I wish more historicals got up to the 4 chili peppers for me, because I just wish that they had more types of acts happening. But I've been lucky to find more and more authors who go to this level of it, which is awesome. And I have quite a few authors to share. So as I mentioned, we have another Minerva Spencer coming up. So SM La Violette is actually the name of Minerva Spencer. Minerva Spencer is the pen name, and so Chantel M. La Violette is her name. And so the Seducer series, which starts with Melissa and the Vicar and Joss and the Countess, these ones have dynamic play, they have kinky things. The heroine of this one and the hero in this one, they worked at a brothel for a lot of their lives. So they're definitely, since they are in sex work, they definitely know a lot more things about their bodies and what they and their partners can do together. Yeah, I really, really enjoy books under the SM La Violette. She even has some under this pen name that are straight up like erotica. She has a series called, oh shucks, I can't remember the name of it, but one of the books in it is called The Heiress, one is called The Valet, and one is called, there's another name in there too. Those ones are straight up like erotic historical. So yeah, good times here. Then there is Allison Chase. She has specifically this series called The Lords of Discipline, and these are BDSM historicals. Dynamic play, there's spanking, there is, like I said, BDSM. I haven't finished this entire series, but I've read a couple of these books, and they were both very spicy and fun. And then I want to mention Elisa Braden. Now, not all of Elisa Braden's would go up to a 4. Like I said, for some of these authors, they don't. But I really feel like based on like the number of sex scenes in this series specifically and some of the acts that happen and the languages used, these ones definitely go more towards a 4 than a 3 for me. But again, it depends on the book. Like, not all of the book in the Rescued from Ruin do I think go all the way up to a 4. And, you know, not everyone in this series does either. But I definitely think Elisa Braden is a much, like, spicier writer than some others. And now we're up to a 5. Okay, we're up to a 5, which is basically erotic romance. So, yeah, the 5 Chili Peppers says erotica. The sex happens soon, often, it's very graphic and explained. It is kinky as fuck. Plot of the book may just be the banging. On rare occasions, there could be more going on. So, there is one that I'll show a picture for. I've only read one by this author so far, but I've heard that they pretty much stay in the same vein. So I read Simply Sexual by Kate Pierce, and this one had all the things. This one had MMF scenes in it. It had lots of kinky things happening. There was lots of sex. There was discipline. There was, again, like multiple partners. There was sharing. Like, there was so much going on in this. And I've been told that the whole series kind of has that going on as well. So Kate Pierce could definitely be an author for you. Then we have Sierra Simone. Yes, Sierra Simone has some historical romances. She has a trilogy that is called the, let me see if I can find the name here, the Markham trilogy. Yeah, the Markham Hall series, and this is actually a Jane Eyre retelling. So they basically fit as one book, but I got these beautiful covers. So this is The Awakening of Ivy Leavehold, The Education of Ivy Leavehold, and The Punishment of Ivy Leavehold. And then there is a duet that is The Wedding of Molly Flannery and The Seduction of Molly Flannery. So those ones are, these are BDSM, kinky, historical romances. And again, one of them is a Jane Eyre retelling, which is awesome. And then the final one I wanted to share that is at the 5 Chili Pepper end, we have the Duke I'd Like to F, and then the Rake I'd Like to F, which is one that came out more recently. And these are actually a like anthology written by Sierra Simone, Joanna Shoup, Eva Lee, Nicola Davidson, and Adrienne Herrera. And specifically, like, this one has like age gaps, it has sexy times, it has interracial romance, it has dynamics going on, and yeah, just very sexy. And in Rake I'd Like to F, there are actually some menages happening, there's a gay romance happening, and they just go all out with that one, and I absolutely love it. And yeah, so there we go. I tried to go as quick as I could. There is my take on some more historical romance authors based on their steam level. Again, this can vary from book to book, but this is my opinion based on my own personal spice scale, where I would put these authors on it with that. So thank you so much for watching this. I hope you are inspired to try some new authors now that you know where they fit on the scale, no matter where that is for you. And yeah, I will also put my spice scale in the description if you'd like to see it, because that is what I use to rate all of my books these days. I'm trying to do my best and make sure that I always have a spice rating going forward. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.